Did someone's maid bring her kid to work? Get this little rat out of my event. Christopher Hayes pointed at the 12-year-old girl, gold Rolex gleaming on his wrist. Bailey's voice trembled. Sir, I'm Bailey Grant. I own this You own nothing. He grabbed her folder, threw it on the floor. Papers scattered everywhere. You people always think you can walk into our world and take what's ours. He pulled out a $100 bill, crumpled it, tossed it at her feet. There's your welfare check, sweetheart. Now pick it up like a good girl and get out. Bailey knelt down, gathering her papers with shaking hands. Tears streamed down her face. That's right. On your knees where you belong. The crowd pulled out their phones. Have you ever watched someone destroy themselves and not even know it? 7:30 in the morning, 6 months before the gala. Bailey Grant woke up in her bedroom. Sunlight streamed through tall windows. The Grant estate spread out below. 30 acres of lawn and old trees. She reached for the photo on her nightstand. Always first. Her parents smiled back. Disneyland. Bailey was 11 then, Dad's arm around Mom. Everyone was laughing. 4 days before the plane crashed. Bailey got dressed, navy uniform, white socks. Her room felt wrong now. Stuffed animals on one shelf, legal documents stacked on her desk. Downstairs, the kitchen echoed. 20-foot ceilings, marble counters where Mom used to drink coffee. Bailey poured cereal. The sound bounced off empty walls. Margaret Williams came through the side door. 55. Black woman with kind eyes and gray hair pulled back tight. Professional blazer. Morning, baby. Sleep okay? Bailey shrugged. Bad dreams. The plane again? Yeah. Margaret sat down, warm hand on Bailey's shoulder. That's normal, sweetheart. Grief doesn't follow rules. Margaret had been her parents' friend for 15 years, corporate attorney. Now she lived in the guest house, watched over Bailey constantly. The doorbell rang at 8:15. Thomas Anderson arrived with his briefcase. 60 years old, black man in an expensive gray suit. Silver hair is perfect. The Grant family attorney since Bailey was born. They sat at the kitchen table, Bailey between two adults. Mr. Anderson opened his briefcase, pulled out documents. Bailey, we need to review the final paperwork. She nodded. Her feet didn't touch the floor. Tell me what you inherited. Your own words. Bailey took a breath. 87% of Grant Industries, $4.3 billion. And the rest? The board members split 13%. Who runs the company daily? The board, until I'm 18. But I have final say on big decisions. What kind? Anything over 10 million, hiring, firing, selling. Margaret squeezed her hand. Mr. Anderson pulled out another paper. Bailey, there's something you need to know. Her stomach dropped. Adult conversations always started like this. The board appointed a new CEO 5 months ago, Christopher Hayes. I never met him. He never visited after your parents died. He sent flowers, though. Yes, flowers. Mr. Anderson's jaw tightened. Your father was planning to fire him. The room went cold. What? Margaret sat forward. I found Richard's private notes last week. Financial irregularities. Money moving strangely. He was building a case. Then he died, Margaret finished. The board didn't know. They made Hayes CEO because he was already CFO. Bailey's voice came out tiny. Is he stealing? I'm investigating. But Bailey, you can fire him anytime. Me? You own 87%. You have final authority. Bailey looked at her hands. Small, powerless. Does he know that? No. Mr. Anderson almost smiled. He thinks the board controls everything. Thinks he's safe for 6 years. So he doesn't know I could fire him today? He has no idea. Margaret leaned in. There's a gala tonight, your parents' annual charity event. Bailey's throat closed. I can't. You don't have to. But they never missed it. They loved it. They raised millions for orphaned children. Orphaned, like Bailey. She looked at her parents' photo again. Mom's smile. Dad's proud eyes. I want to go. Mr. Anderson nodded. We'll introduce you to the board officially. Will Mr. Hayes be there? Yes. Will he be nice? The adults looked at each other. Margaret pulled Bailey close. Sweetheart, some people won't be nice because you're young or because you're black. Bailey had heard this her whole life. What do I do? Mr. Anderson's voice hardened. Remember who you are. Bailey Grant. Your parents built an empire. It's yours now. I'm just a kid. You're a child, Margaret said. But you're a $4.3 billion child. Big difference. That evening, Bailey put on her navy dress, the one Mom bought last year. Still fit. Barely. She looked in the mirror, saw her mother's eyes, her father's chin. The limousine arrived at 6:30, black and long. Bailey climbed in, Margaret on one side, Mr. Anderson on the other. The folder sat on her lap. Documents, certificates, proof. You okay? Margaret asked. Scared. Good. That means you understand. The car pulled onto the highway, toward Manhattan, toward the Grand Meridian Hotel. Bailey pressed her face to the window. City lights appeared. Somewhere out there, Christopher Hayes was getting ready. Expensive tuxedo, gold Rolex, smiling at his reflection. He had no idea. Neither did Bailey. The car drove through the darkening evening. The limousine pulled up to the Grand Meridian Hotel at 7 p.m. sharp. Valets rushed forward. Red carpet stretched from curb to entrance. Photographers lined both sides, flashes popping constantly. Bailey watched through tinted windows. Her stomach twisted into knots. Ready? Margaret asked. No. Good answer. Mr. Anderson smiled. Honesty is important. The door opened. Cool evening air rushed in. Bailey stepped out. Navy dress, white flats, folder clutched tight. Photographers ignored her completely. A child. Nobody is important. She walked between Margaret and Mr. Anderson, three people invisible to the glamorous crowd. Inside, the lobby took her breath away. Marble floors so shiny she could see her reflection. Crystal chandeliers the size of cars. Gold trim everywhere. Rich people filled every corner. Diamonds, designer gowns. Tuxedos are worth more than most people's rent. Bailey felt small, 12 years old in a room full of giants. The registration table stood near the elevators. A woman in her 30s sat behind it, white, blonde, perfectly made up. Name, please? She asked without looking up. Bailey Grant. The woman's pen stopped. She looked up. Confusion crossed her face. I'm sorry, sweetie. I don't see any children on the guest list. I'm not a guest, Bailey said quietly. Jennifer, is there a problem? A man's voice, deep, confident, entitled. Bailey turned. Christopher Hayes stood 10 feet away, 48 years old, white, tall, 6'2" at least. His tuxedo probably cost $10,000. Gold Rolex caught the light. His brown hair had silver at the temples. Distinguished looking. His wife Amanda stood beside him. 42, blonde, dripping in diamonds. Her gown probably cost more than a car. 5 other men clustered around Christopher, all white, all wealthy, all smiling. Christopher walked closer. Drink in his hand. Scotch, probably expensive. He looked down at Bailey. His eyes swept over her. Dismissed her in half a second. Did someone's maid bring her kid to work? He said it loud. making sure people heard. Get this little rat out of my event. Bailey's voice shook. Sir, I'm Bailey Grant. I own this comp. Own? Christopher laughed, sharp and mean. The only thing you'll ever own is a mop and bucket like your mother. He grabbed her folder, ripped it from her hands. Bailey reached for it. Please, those are my... Christopher threw it. Hard. The folder hit the marble and exploded. Papers flew everywhere. Death certificates, stock certificates, photos. Her mother's face stared up from the floor. Sir, please. Bailey dropped to her knees, started gathering papers, hands shaking. Christopher pulled out his wallet, thick with cash. He counted out $100 bills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, $500. He crumpled them into a ball, threw them at Bailey's head. The money hit her face, bounced onto the floor. There's a tip. Now get on your knees and pick those up before I have you arrested for trespassing. Bailey was already on her knees, tears streaming down her face. She grabbed her mother's photo first, held it to her chest. Look at this. Christopher turned to his audience. 20 people are watching now. Already where she belongs, on the floor with the trash. Someone laughed, then another. Soon half the crowd was chuckling. Phones came out, started recording. Amanda Hayes stepped closer. Her heels clicked on marble. Christopher, honey, should we call child services? She's clearly disturbed. Good idea, darling. Christopher sipped his scotch. Jennifer, call security. This child is trespassing. Jennifer picked up her phone, fingers hovering over buttons. Mr. Hayes, are you sure? She did say her name was... I don't care what she said. I'm the CEO of Grant Industries. I think I'd know if the owner showed up. Bailey looked up at him. Tears blurred her vision. I am the owner. My parents... Your parents what? Left you billions? Christopher's voice dripped with mockery. Sure they did, princess, and I'm the king of England. His friends laughed louder. One pulled out his phone, started live streaming. You guys have to see this. Some kid trying to crash the Grant Industries gala. The stream is loaded. Comments started rolling in immediately. What's happening? Is that a child? Why is she crying? Christopher saw the camera, smiled wider, played to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens when you let standards slip. He gestured at Bailey like a presenter on a game show. This child walks into our event, claims to own a $5 billion company, expects us to just believe her. Bailey gathered her papers. Each one felt heavier than the last. Her mother's death certificate, her father's will, stock certificates with her name. Christopher saw them, bent down, snatched the death certificates from her hands. Oh, this is precious. She printed fake documents. He held them up to the light. Probably made at Kinko's. Those are real, Bailey whispered. My parents died 6 months ago. That's their... Your parents? Christopher's voice went high, mocking. Honey, Richard and Catherine Grant were successful people, educated, powerful. You really think their daughter would be crawling on the floor like a dog? He crumpled the death certificates, threw them back at her. Bailey caught them, smoothed them out carefully. Her hands shook so hard she could barely hold the paper. Margaret started forward. Mr. Anderson grabbed her arm, shook his head slightly. Not yet, he mouthed. Margaret's jaw clenched, but she stayed back. More people gathered. The crowd grew to 40, 50, phones everywhere. The live stream hit 5,000 viewers. Comments exploded. This is awful. Someone help her. That man is terrible. She's just a kid. But also, she's probably lying. Looks like a scam to me. Where are her parents? Christopher saw the view count, smiled bigger. This was good publicity. The tough CEO protecting his company from fraud. Amanda stepped closer to Bailey, towered over her. Sweetie, where did you really get these papers? Did someone put you up to this? Bailey looked up at her. No, ma'am. These are mine. My lawyer has the originals. Mr. Anderson is... Mr. Anderson? Christopher barked a laugh. Thomas Anderson? The estate attorney? Yes, sir. Where is he then? If you're really Bailey Grant, where's your famous lawyer? Bailey turned, looked for Mr. Anderson. He stood 50 feet away, still holding Margaret back, watching, waiting. He's right there, Bailey pointed. Christopher looked, saw an old black man in a suit, dismissed him immediately. That guy? Honey, Thomas Anderson wears $5,000 suits. That's probably someone's driver. The crowd laughed again. Bailey's voice broke. That is Mr. Anderson. He's been my family's lawyer since I was born. Sure he has. Christopher finished his scotch, handed the empty glass to Bailey. Here, make yourself useful. Take this to the bar. Bailey stared at the glass. Didn't take it. Christopher's smile vanished. I said take it. No. The word came out small, but firm. Christopher's face darkened. What did you say to me? I said no. Bailey stood up, papers clutched to her chest. I'm not your servant. You're not anything. Christopher stepped closer, used his height to intimidate. You're a lying little thief who crashed my event. Security! 2 security guards appeared, both white men, 40s, big, intimidating. The lead guard was named Eric. He looked uncomfortable. Mr. Hayes? Remove this child. She's trespassing. Eric looked at Bailey, saw the tears, the scattered papers, the crumpled money on the floor. Sir, maybe we should... Did I ask for your opinion? Get her out. Now. Eric moved forward slowly. Miss, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Bailey backed up. I have a right to be here. This is my family's company. Miss, please don't make this difficult. The second guard moved to Bailey's other side, flanking her. Bailey felt trapped. 2 massive men, a crowd of strangers, Christopher Hayes smiling like a shark. She looked at Margaret, eyes pleading. Margaret's face was stone, but her hands clenched into fists. Mr. Anderson put a hand on Margaret's shoulder, squeezed, still waiting. Sir, Eric said to Christopher, she's just a child. Maybe we could call someone? Check her story? Her story is a lie. Christopher's voice boomed through the lobby. And I'm done entertaining this circus. Remove her or you're both fired. Eric's face went pale. He had kids, needed this job. He reached for Bailey's arm. Miss, please come with me. Bailey jerked away. Don't touch me! Miss, I said don't touch me! Her voice went high, panicked. The live stream hit 15,000 viewers. Comments. Call the police! This is abuse! Someone do something! Christopher saw the numbers, saw the comments turning against him. Time to end this. He pulled out his phone, dialed. Yes, this is Christopher Hayes, CEO of Grant Industries. I'm at the Grand Meridian Hotel. We have a trespasser. A child. Yes, approximately 12 years old. Black female, claims to own my company. Clearly disturbed or coached. He paused, listened. Thank you. We'll wait. He hung up, smiled at Bailey. Police are coming, sweetheart. Hope you enjoy juvenile detention. Bailey's legs went weak. She sat down hard on the marble floor, papers scattered again. She didn't pick them up this time, just sat there, crying. Christopher stood over her, victory in his eyes. That's what I thought. All bark, no bite. Amanda laughed. Poor thing. Someone should really teach these people their place. The crowd murmured. Some are uncomfortable, most entertained. This was better than the dinner show. Across the lobby, Mr. Anderson checked his watch. 7:15 p.m. Perfect timing. He let go of Margaret's shoulder. "Now," he said quietly. Margaret moved like lightning. Margaret cut through the crowd like a blade. People stumbled aside. Her face was fury. She reached Bailey in seconds, dropped to her knees, pulled the girl into her arms. "Baby, I'm here." Bailey sobbed into her shoulder, body shaking. Christopher looked down, annoyed. "And who are you? The nanny?" Margaret's head snapped up, eyes blazing. "I'm her legal guardian, Margaret Williams, attorney at law." "An attorney?" Christopher laughed. "Strip mall office? Harvard Law, 1995. Corporate litigation. You just assaulted my client." "I didn't touch her." "You threw documents at a minor. Verbal abuse, hostile environment, 50 witnesses and 20,000 live stream viewers." Christopher's smile cracked. 20,000? He glanced at the phone. Numbers climbing. 25,000, 30,000, 40,000. Comments exploding. "Sue him! Call the news!" "That poor baby." Christopher cleared his throat. "I was protecting my company from fraud." "Fraud?" Margaret stood. "You want to discuss fraud, Mr. Hayes?" "I don't know who. I'm holding evidence of your embezzlement. Discuss it here, or wait for the police?" Christopher's face went white. Crowd silenced. Amanda grabbed his arm. "Christopher, what is she talking about?" "Nothing. Bluffing." "Am I?" Margaret pulled out her phone. "Offshore account, Cayman Islands. Opened March 15th, 5 days after Richard and Catherine Grant died. Initial deposit, $2 million from Grant Industries." Christopher's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Margaret continued. "Shell Company, Delaware. Hayes Consulting, LLC. 12 million in contracts. Services never rendered. Payments approved by you." "That's confidential." "Stolen from an orphan." Margaret's voice cut glass. "From a 12-year-old whose parents weren't buried yet." Crowd gasped. Phones everywhere. Live stream hit 60,000. Christopher backed up. "You can't prove that." "I'm an attorney. I don't make unprovable claims." Mr. Anderson stepped forward, moving through the crowd, beside Margaret now. "Hello, Christopher." Christopher's face grayed. "Thomas, 5 months? Since the board meeting where you became CEO?" "I earned that position." "Did you?" Anderson opened his briefcase. Thick folder. "Richard Grant's notes say differently." "Richard's dead." "Conveniently." Cold voice. "He was investigating you. Financial irregularities. FBI meeting scheduled the week after he died." Lobby turned ice cold. Christopher looked around. 80 people were staring. Career collapsing live. "Slander. I'll sue." "Please." Margaret smiled without warmth. "Discovery will be fascinating. Every account, every transaction, every email." Amanda pulled away, stepped back. "Christopher, you stole from a dead man's child?" "It's not." "Then explain." Anderson moved closer. 15 million. Shell companies. Forged contracts. Christopher's breathing accelerated. Sweat beaded. "The company needed..." "Richard would have approved." "Richard was firing you." Anderson showed handwritten notes. "His writing. Hayes embezzling. Call the FBI. Protect Bailey." Bailey looked up, saw her father's handwriting. Fresh tears. Christopher saw the note, recognized it. Legs wobbled. Could be fake. Authenticated by 3 experts. The FBI has copies. The FBI echoed through the lobby. People backed away. Amanda addressed the crowd. "I had no idea. We're separated." "We are not!" Christopher grabbed her. She slapped his hand. "Don't touch me. I want a lawyer." You're my wife! Not for long. She pushed through, heels clicking. Gone. Christopher stood alone. 90 people were watching. Security guard Eric stepped forward. Mr. Hayes, still remove the child? Yes. No, police are coming. You called them. Christopher went green, called police on himself. Anderson smiled. Ironic. Bailey stood. Margaret helped, face puffy but voice clear. Mr. Anderson, what are my rights as majority shareholder? Voice carried through silence. Anderson turned, spoke loud. As the owner of 87%, you have ultimate authority. Can I fire the CEO? Anyone, anytime, any reason. What if he signed contracts? Avoid them. Review. Renegotiate. What if he stole? Press charges. Sue. Demand restitution plus interest. Bailey looked at Christopher. 12 facing 48. I want him arrested. Christopher laughed. Desperate. Arrested? You're a child. No. Bailey's voice strengthened. But the police you called can. Doors opened. 2 NYPD officers entered. Uniforms crisp. Officer Martinez led. 45, Latina, experienced. Partner Johnson, 30, black, sharp. Who called about a trespasser? Christopher's hand rose, froze halfway. Everyone stared. Martinez walked over. You called? Yes. Misunderstanding. What kind? Margaret stepped forward. Officers, Margaret Williams, attorney. This man assaulted my client. 12 years old, verbal abuse, through documents, severe distress. Martinez looked at Bailey. Tears, red eyes, papers scattered. True? Bailey nodded. Martinez turned to Christopher. Face hardened. ID, please. Christopher Hayes, CEO of Grant Industries. Terrible mistake. ID, now. Christopher fumbled. Hands shaking, license out. Martinez examined, handed to Johnson. Run him. Why? I'm the victim. You called about a child. She's crying on the floor. You're sweating. Doesn't add up. Johnson radioed. Quiet. Anderson handed Martinez his card. Officer Thomas Anderson, estate attorney for the Grants. I'll explain. Please. This is Bailey Grant, sole heir, owns 87% of Grant Industries, worth $4.3 billion. Martinez's eyebrows rose, looked at Bailey, back at Anderson. This girl owns billions? Yes. Proof? Anderson handed documents. Certificates, court papers, death certificates, notarized. Martinez read, skeptical to shocked to angry. Looked at Christopher. You called the police on a child who owns your company? I didn't know. Didn't ask, just assumed. Live stream hit 120,000. Johnson returned. Ma'am, federal investigation hit. Financial crimes. He's flagged. Martinez nodded. Mr. Hayes, come with us. Questions. About what? Embezzlement. Fraud. The FBI called 30 minutes ago. Christopher's knees buckled. Grabbed column. Insane. I have rights. Yes, reading them now. Martinez pulled handcuffs. Arresting me? Detaining for questioning. Turn around. I will not turn or I add resistance. Christopher looked around. Crowd. Phones. Cameras. No help. He turned. Martinez cuffed him. Metal clicked loud. Christopher Hayes, detained for questioning regarding embezzlement, fraud, and financial crimes. Right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. Rights echoed. Christopher cried. Please, family, employees, One mistake. Several mistakes. Martinez walked him doorward. Christopher looked back. Sorry, I didn't know. If I'd known... Bailey's voice cut through. You'd be nice because I'm rich? Christopher stopped. What if I was nobody? Maid's kid? Would I deserve that? No answer. You're not sorry for what you did. Sorry you got caught. Martinez pushed forward. Let's go. The crowd parted. Path to door. Christopher walked. Death march. Handcuffs glinting. 30 minutes. Life destroyed. Doors closed. Lobby erupted. Everyone is talking. Live stream hit 150,000. News vans outside. Everywhere by morning. Bailey sat on the floor, not crying, exhausted. Margaret sat beside her, arm around shoulders. You did good. Don't feel good. I know, but you stood up. That's courage. Anderson knelt. Bailey, we need an announcement. Introduce you properly. Now? Yes, everyone's here. Cameras rolling. Bailey looked at hundreds of eyes. So tired. But parents would want this. She stood. Margaret and Anderson flanked her. Someone brought a microphone. Time to tell the world who Bailey Grant was. The microphone felt heavy in her small hands. Cold metal against her palm. Dr. Patricia Morrison approached. 62. White woman. Perfectly tailored suit. Board chairperson. She'd been standing in the back, watching everything. Face unreadable. Now she walked forward, heels clicking on marble. Bailey. Her voice was soft. Is that really you? Bailey nodded. Yes, Dr. Morrison. Oh my God. Patricia's composure cracked. Oh, sweetheart, I'm so sorry. She knelt down, eye level with Bailey. We should have protected you better. Should have told Christopher you might attend. Should have... Her voice broke. Bailey saw tears in the older woman's eyes. It's okay. It's not okay. Patricia stood, turned to the crowd. Her voice boomed. Professional, authoritative. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your complete attention? The lobby quieted instantly. 200 people, all watching. I am Dr. Patricia Morrison, chairperson of the Grant Industries Board of Directors. She put her hand on Bailey's shoulder, protective. This is Miss Bailey Grant, daughter of our beloved founders, Richard and Catherine Grant. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Following their tragic deaths 6 months ago, Bailey inherited 87% of Grant Industries, making her the majority stakeholder and ultimate authority of this company. Gasps. Whispers. She is 12 years old. She is brilliant. She is brave. And tonight, she was humiliated by a man we trusted. Patricia's voice hardened. Christopher Hayes is no longer CEO of Grant Industries, effective immediately. He has been terminated for cause, financial crimes, embezzlement, abuse of authority. The crowd erupted. Questions shouted, cameras flashing. Patricia raised her hand. Silence returned. The board will conduct a full investigation. We will recover every stolen dollar. We will rebuild trust. And we will ensure this never happens again. She looked down at Bailey. Miss Grant, would you like to say anything? Bailey looked at the microphone, at the faces, at the cameras. Her voice came out small at first, then stronger. My parents loved this company. They built it with honesty and hard work. She paused, swallowed. Mr. Hayes forgot that. He thought he could steal from me because I'm young, because I'm black, because I'm powerless. Her voice was steady now. He was wrong. The crowd was silent, hanging on every word. I'm not powerless, and neither is anyone else who looks like me, who's young like me, who's been treated like they don't matter. Bailey looked directly at the nearest camera. We all matter. We all deserve respect. And we all have the right to fight back. The lobby exploded in applause. Thunderous, genuine. People were crying, clapping, cheering. Bailey handed the microphone back, suddenly shy. Margaret pulled her close. Perfect, baby. Just perfect. Anderson smiled. Your parents would be incredibly proud. The live stream hit 200,000 viewers. Comments flooded. She's amazing. Justice. This child is a hero. News reporters rushed forward, questions flying. Bailey, how do you feel? Will you press charges? What's next for Grant Industries? Anderson stepped forward, shielding Bailey. Miss Grant will not be taking questions tonight. She's been through enough. Patricia Morrison added, the board will release an official statement tomorrow. For now, please respect this child's privacy. Security guards formed a protective circle, gently moving reporters back. Margaret led Bailey toward the elevators, Anderson on the other side. As they walked, people reached out, touched Bailey's shoulder, whispered support. You're brave. Thank you. You inspire me. Bailey managed small smiles, but she was fading fast. The elevator doors closed. Finally quiet. Bailey collapsed against the wall, legs shaking. Can we go home now? Yes, baby, we're going home. The elevator descended, away from cameras, away from crowds, away from Christopher Hayes and his cruelty. But the video was already spreading. Viral, unstoppable. By morning, the whole world would know Bailey Grant's name, and they would know exactly what happened when someone underestimated her. The elevator doors opened on the ballroom level. Music drifted out. Orchestra playing. Dinner service starting. 500 guests inside. The actual gala. No idea what happened downstairs. Bailey stopped. I can't go in there. You don't have to, Margaret said. Patricia Morrison stepped forward. Actually, she does. Everyone turned. Patricia's face was gentle but firm. Bailey, those people need to see you. Otherwise, rumors spread. Lies fill the vacuum. I'm too tired. I know, but this is important. 10 minutes. Bailey looked at Margaret, silently asking. Margaret squeezed her hand. Your choice, baby. Bailey thought about her parents, how they never missed this gala. Okay, 10 minutes. Patricia smiled. That's all we need. They walked through the ballroom doors together. Orchestra playing, people eating salads, champagne flowing, laughter everywhere. Then someone noticed Bailey, pointed. Whispers spread like wildfire. Is that her? The girl from the video? It's already online. Phones came out. People checking social media, watching the lobby video gone viral. The orchestra stopped, mid-song. Silence crashed over the room. 500 people staring at one 12-year-old. Bailey's knees almost buckled. This was worse than the lobby. Patricia walked to the stage, took the microphone. Good evening. I apologize for the interruption. Dead silence. Many of you just saw a video, an incident in our lobby. I want to address it directly. She gestured to Bailey. This is Miss Bailey Grant, majority owner of Grant Industries, daughter of Richard and Catherine Grant. Murmurs rippled. One voice called out. Male. Older. That's the girl who got Christopher arrested? Patricia's voice went cold. That's the girl Christopher Hayes assaulted, verbally abused, humiliated. Yes, he was arrested for embezzlement and fraud. Gasps. Christopher Hayes stole $15 million from this company, from this child, while she grieved her parents. The room erupted. Everyone is talking. Patricia raised her hand. Silence returned. The board voted unanimously. Christopher Hayes is terminated, effective immediately. All contracts under review. All transactions will be audited. She paused. And I want to be very clear. Her voice is strong. Bailey Grant is not a figurehead. She is the owner of this company. Her decisions are final. Her authority is absolute. She looked at Bailey. Miss Grant, would you like to say anything? Bailey's heart pounded. 500 people watching. She walked slowly to the stage. Each step felt like miles. Margaret helped her up. The stage felt enormous. Bailey took the microphone. It shook slightly. Hi. Voice tiny, amplified through speakers. She cleared her throat. My name is Bailey Grant. I'm 12 years old. Silent room. You could hear breathing. 6 months ago, my parents died. Plane crash. I lost everything that mattered. The voice cracked. She pushed through. But I didn't lose this company. My parents built it for me, for our future. Built it on values, honesty, hard work, treating people with dignity. She looked around, met eyes. Tonight, a man forgot those values. He saw a black child and assumed I was nothing, a thief. Some people looked down, ashamed. He was wrong, and he's going to pay. Voice got stronger. But here's what I want you to remember. I'm lucky. I have money, lawyers, power. Most kids are treated like that. They have nothing. Nobody listens. Nobody cares. She paused. So when you see a child being disrespected, anyone being judged by how they look, don't just watch. Don't just record. Do something. Say something. Stand up. Tears on several faces. That's what my parents would want. That's what I want. She handed the microphone back. The room exploded. Standing ovation. Thunderous applause. People are crying, clapping, cheering. Bailey stood overwhelmed. 12 years old, being celebrated like a hero. She didn't feel like a hero. Felt tired and sad and scared. But also something else. Something new. Powerful. Margaret came up, wrapped her in a hug. Time to go home, baby. Yeah. Please. They walked off stage. Through the standing crowd, people reached out, touched her shoulder, her hand. You're amazing. Thank you for your courage. Your parents would be proud. Bailey managed smiles, running on empty. The limousine waited outside, engine running. They climbed in, doors closed, finally safe, finally private. Bailey collapsed against Margaret. Is it over? The hard part? Yes. The rest? Just beginning. Car pulled away from the hotel, away from cameras and crowds. Bailey looked out. City lights blurred past. The phone buzzed. Text from Mr. Anderson. The video has 3 million views. Every news station calling. You're going to be famous. She didn't want to be famous. She wanted her parents back. But that wasn't possible. So she'd do the next best thing. Make them proud. Car drove through the night. Toward home. Toward rest. Toward whatever came next. Behind them, the Grand Meridian Hotel blazed with lights and chaos. Reporters everywhere. Police tape in lobby. News vans blocking traffic. The story was just beginning. But for Bailey, tonight was over. She closed her eyes, leaned against Margaret's shoulder. For the first time in 6 months, she felt something like peace. Not happiness, not yet, but peace. Justice had been served. Her voice was heard. Her power was proven. Christopher Hayes in a cell. Amanda filing for divorce. Board in chaos. Company in turmoil. And Bailey Grant, 12 years old, was going home. Car drove on through dark streets. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new responsibilities, new battles. But tonight, she could rest. She had won. Margaret stroked her hair. "Sleep, baby. I've got you." Bailey's breathing slowed, deepened. Outside, the city blazed with a million lights, each one a story, a life, a struggle. Bailey's story was now part of that tapestry. Her face would be on every screen, her words quoted everywhere. The girl who stood up to power, the child who refused to be silenced, the orphan who became a warrior. Mr. Anderson sat in front, on his phone, already fielding calls. Lawyers, press, board members. "No interviews tonight. Miss Grant needs rest. We'll release a statement tomorrow." He hung up, looked back at Bailey sleeping. "That child just changed the world," he said quietly. Margaret nodded. "She changed herself too. She'll never be the same." "Is that good or bad?" "Both. Always both." The limousine turned onto the highway, headed toward Westchester, toward the Grant estate, toward home. Behind them, Manhattan glittered, a city that never slept, a city that loved a good story. And Bailey Grant had just given them the story of the year. The car drove into the night, and the world kept spinning. Morning came too early. Bailey woke to sunlight streaming through her windows. For 3 seconds, she forgot everything. Then the memory crashed back. The hotel, Christopher, the cameras. She grabbed her phone, 47 missed calls, 200 texts. Social media exploded. She opened Twitter, hands shaking, trending worldwide. Number 1, Bailey Grant. Justice. Served. Never underestimate. The video had 20 million views. Comments scrolled, "This child is my hero." "She's so brave." "Christopher Hayes deserves prison." But also, "Publicity stunt." "Too young to own a company." "Parents faked their deaths." Bailey threw the phone. It hit the wall. Knock on her door. "Bailey, are you awake?" Margaret's voice. "Yeah." Margaret entered. Breakfast tray, pancakes, orange juice. "You need to eat." "I need this to stop." Margaret sat on the bed. "It won't stop, not for a while. You're famous now." "How long?" "Weeks, maybe months." Bailey pulled knees to chest. "I don't want to be famous." "I know. But you are." The doorbell rang downstairs. Again. Again. Margaret walked to the window, pulled the curtain. "Oh no!" "What?" "News vans. 20 of them. At the gate." Bailey looked down. Reporters everywhere, cameras, satellite trucks. "They can't come in, right?" "Security won't let them." Another knock. Mr. Anderson entered, exhausted, suit wrinkled. "Have you seen the news?" "We're looking," Margaret said. "The real news." He turned on Bailey's TV. Bailey's face filled the screen. Chiron. 12-year-old CEO exposes embezzlement. The anchor spoke. The business world is reeling after shocking footage of Christopher Hayes verbally assaulting Grant Industries' 12-year-old owner. Lobby video played. Christopher throwing papers, Bailey crying. Bailey looked away. Hayes was arrested on embezzlement, fraud, and financial crimes charges. FBI confirms investigation into $15 million allegedly stolen. Christopher in handcuffs, led to the police car. He looked broken. Old. Hayes is held without bail. The anchor smiled. But the real story is Bailey Grant. Her speech played. We all deserve respect. We all have the right to fight back. Wise words from someone so young. Anderson muted it. Every channel, Fox, MSNBC, BBC, Everyone. Bailey sat, numb. What happens now? We control the narrative. Anderson pulled out his tablet. Press conference this afternoon. Grant Industries. Brief statement. I have to talk again? Yes, on your terms. Prepared. Margaret intervened. She's exhausted. Every hour we wait, rumors spread. He showed the tablet. Headlines: Child CEO, publicity stunt? Did parents fake death? Grant family secrets? Bailey's stomach turned. Lies. Which is why we are going today. Margaret looked torn. She's 12. She's a billionaire who destroyed a criminal on TV. The world needs to see she's in control. Bailey stood. I'll do it. Bailey, no, he's right. I'll finish this. She walked to her closet. What should I wear? Anderson smiled. Professional but age-appropriate. Child and CEO both. 2 hours later, the limousine headed to Manhattan. Bailey wore a navy blazer, white shirt, gray skirt. The car approached the building. 40 stories. Glass and steel. Her parents built this. Now hers. Street chaos. Reporters. Cameras. Shouting. Bailey, how do you feel? Are you scared? Security formed a wall, pushed through, protected Bailey. She kept her head high, didn't look at cameras, just walked forward, confident, dignified, powerful. Inside, employees lined the halls, hundreds, applauding, clapping for their 12-year-old boss. She smiled, waved, some crying. One woman stepped forward, 50s, black, custodian uniform. Miss Grant? Thank you. Bailey stopped. For what? For standing up. For showing we matter. Eyes wet. 20 years cleaning offices, invisible. You made us visible. Bailey hugged her. The woman hugged back. Cameras captured it. Tomorrow's front page. CEO and custodian. Both matter. Anderson led Bailey to the elevator. Executive floor, conference room, press inside. 50 journalists, cameras everywhere. Bailey took a breath. Ready? Margaret asked. No, but let's go. They walked in. Cameras flashed. Questions shouted. Anderson raised his hand. Silence. Miss Bailey Grant will make a brief statement. No questions. Bailey stepped to the podium. A box waited so she could reach the microphone. She looked at cameras, at reporters, at the world. Her voice came out clear. My name is Bailey Grant. I'm 12 years old. Yesterday, a man tried to destroy me because of how I look and how old I am. She paused. He failed, and he'll pay for what he did. Another pause. But I'm not here for revenge. I'm here to say this. Grant Industries will continue. We will be stronger, more honest, more fair. Her voice strengthened. My parents built this company on integrity. I will honor that. Every decision I make will reflect their values. She looked directly at the camera. To every child watching, your voice matters. Your truth matters. Don't let anyone silence you. She stepped back. The room erupted. Questions shouted. Cameras flashing. But Bailey was done talking. She walked out. Head high, Margaret and Anderson flanked her. Outside, the world was waiting. But Bailey was ready. 3 days later, the FBI raided Christopher Hayes' home. 6 a.m. Agents in windbreakers. Search warrants. Boxes carried out. News helicopters circled. Captured everything live. Christopher stood on his lawn in pajamas. Hands cuffed. Face pale. Amanda watched from her lawyer's car down the street. She'd moved out 2 days ago. Filed for divorce that afternoon. The raid lasted 6 hours. Agents found everything. Offshore bank statements, forged contracts, emails detailing embezzlement, evidence of bribes, plans to manipulate Bailey. Worse than anyone thought. That evening, the FBI held a press conference. Special Agent Rachel Morrison spoke. 45. Stern. Today, we executed search warrants on Christopher Hayes' residence and offices. We recovered substantial evidence of financial crimes. She paused. Mr. Hayes is charged with 23 counts of embezzlement, wire fraud, money laundering, and conspiracy. Reporters erupted. Morrison raised her hand. Total theft, $18.7 million. If convicted, he faces 40 years in federal prison. 40 years. Christopher was 48. He'd die in prison. Morrison continued. We're investigating 3 board members who accepted bribes. 2 resigned. The 3rd is cooperating. At the Grant estate, Bailey watched on TV. Margaret sat beside her. How do you feel? I don't know. Sad, angry, relieved. All of those. That's normal. Bailey's phone buzzed. Text from Mr. Anderson. Trial date set. 6 months. You'll testify. Her stomach dropped. Court? Margaret read over her shoulder. We'll be with you. I don't want to see him. I know, but this is justice. Next week, Grant Industries held an emergency board meeting. 12 members. Bailey sat at the head. Her father's seat, tiny in the massive chair. Voice strong. 3 board members resigned. We need replacements. Dr. Patricia Morrison nodded. We have recommendations. I have requirements, Bailey interrupted. Silence. Bailey pulled out paper. Her handwriting. 50% women, 30% people of color. No one over 70. Murmurs. Gerald Thompson spoke. Older white man. Christopher's friend. Miss Grant, those requirements are very specific. Yes. Bailey looked at him. Mr. Thompson, you're resigning today. His face reddened. Excuse me? You knew Christopher for 30 years. You ignored warnings. You failed me. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. Worse. Margaret squeezed Bailey's hand. Gerald stood. You can't fire. I own 87%. 10 minutes to clear your office. Gerald looked around. No support. He grabbed his briefcase, stormed out. Bailey turned to the remaining board. Anyone else? Silence. Good. My new appointments. She slid papers across. 3 names. Dr. Susan Thompson, child psychologist. Black woman, 43. James Harrison, former FBI investigator. Black man, 52. Linda Martinez, tech CEO. Latina, 39. Patricia reviewed them. Excellent choices. I researched for 3 days. The board voted. Unanimous. That week, Bailey announced the Richard and Catherine Grant Foundation. $50 million. Mission. Support orphaned children. Legal help. Financial education. Counseling. Press conference at headquarters. Bailey at the podium. Box under her feet. My parents died 6 months ago. I became an orphan with billions. I'm lucky. Most orphans have nothing. Pause. This foundation will protect them. Every child who loses parents will have legal help, financial advisors, counselors. Cameras flashing. No child should face what I faced. Foundation launched. Applications flooded. Hundreds. Thousands. Orphans whose relatives stole inheritance. Children exploited. Kids ignored. Bailey read every application, cried over many, approved funding for 500 children in the first month. Meanwhile, the trial date approached. Christopher's lawyers tried everything. Delays, motions, pleas bargain. Prosecution refused. Going to trial. Public. Cameras allowed. Bailey's therapy increased to 3 times weekly. Dr. Thompson helped prepare. Defense will try to make you look unreliable. Too young. I'm not confused. Stay calm, tell the truth. Look at the jury, not Christopher. What if I cry? Then cry. You're 12. You're allowed. The trial began on a Monday in March, 6 months after the gala. The courthouse was packed, media everywhere. Bailey wore a navy dress, simple. She walked in, saw Christopher. He looked terrible, thin, gray, prison jumpsuit, shackles. He glanced at her, looked away, ashamed. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Prosecutors presented evidence, financial records, emails, testimony. Numbers are damning. 18.7 million stolen. Fake companies. Fraudulent transactions. Christopher's defense was weak, claimed borrowing money. Accounting errors. Nobody believed him. Then Bailey testified. She walked to the witness stand, hand on Bible. Do you swear to tell the truth? I do. The prosecutor approached. Rachel Torres, kind eyes. Bailey, tell the jury what happened. Bailey looked at the jury, 12 faces. I went to honor my parents. They never missed the gala. Voice steady. Mr. Hayes saw me. He assumed I was nobody. A maid's daughter. She described everything. Insults, money thrown, papers scattered, mother's ring taken, jury faces darkened, angry. He made me beg for my mother's ring. The last thing she gave me. Several jurors cried. Defense cross-examined. You never identified yourself? I tried. He didn't listen. But I was 12, scared, grieving. He was 48 throwing money at me. The defense had no response. Bailey was dismissed. Perfect. Closing arguments. Prosecutor Torres addressed the jury. Christopher Hayes stole from an orphaned child. He humiliated her. No remorse until caught. She pointed at him. He represents unchecked privilege, believing some people matter and others don't. Voice rose. Bailey Grant proved him wrong. She stood up, spoke out, refused silence, turned to jury. Deliver justice. No one is above the law. The jury deliberated for 6 hours. Verdict. Count 1, embezzlement, guilty. Count 2, wire fraud, guilty. Count 3, money laundering, guilty. All 23 counts, guilty. Christopher collapsed. Crying, sentencing 2 weeks later, Bailey attended. Judge Honor Maria Rodriguez, 60, Latina, stern. Mr. Hayes, you stole $18.7 million from an orphaned child. Christopher stood, shaking. You abused your position, betrayed trust, no remorse. She looked at notes. Prosecution recommends 25 years. Defense requests 5. Eyes hard. I sentence you to 30 years federal prison, no parole for 20. 30 years, he'd be 78, life over. Bailey felt no joy, just closure. Outside, reporters swarmed. Bailey, how do you feel? She stepped to microphones. Justice was done. Mr. Hayes will pay. What's next? Back to school, back to being 12, back to my life? Small smile. But I'll never forget. And I'll never stop fighting for kids who can't fight for themselves. She walked away, head high. Behind her, Christopher was led to prison. Ahead, the future waited. Bailey Grant had changed the world. 1 year later, Bailey Grant stood in her father's old office, now hers, 47th floor. Manhattan spread below. She was 13 now, taller, stronger, different. Parents' photos on the wall, Stanford acceptance letter framed. Early admission at 16. Mother's ring on her desk. On a chain. Still too big. Knock. Margaret entered. Board meeting at 5. Coming. The conference room was full. 12 board members, diverse, brilliant. Patricia Morrison smiled. Revenue up 42%. Bailey nodded. The foundation? Dr. Thompson spoke. 2,000 children served. 50 exploitation cases were prevented. 50 kids saved. After the meeting, Bailey sat at her desk, pulled out her journal, wrote, 1 year ago, Christopher Hayes tried to destroy me. He failed. He's in prison. I'm here. She looked at her parents' photo. I hope I'm making you proud. Phone buzzer. Hi, Bailey. I'm Marcus. I'm 11. My parents died. Your foundation helped me. You saved my life. Tears came. She replied, You're going to be okay, Marcus. We've got you. This was why she fought. Bailey walked to the window, looked down at the city. Somewhere, another kid was being underestimated, dismissed, hurt. But somewhere else, another fighter was standing up. She pulled out her phone, opened camera. Hi, I'm Bailey Grant. 1 year ago, a man looked at me and saw nothing. She stared into the lens. He was wrong. Voice strengthened. If you're a kid who's been told you don't matter, that you're too young, too small, too different, listen, you have power. Right now, not someday. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. You matter. Stand up now. Speak out now. Fight back now. Pause. If you're an adult watching, if you see a child being disrespected, dismissed, hurt, do something. Not tomorrow. Right now. Don't just watch. Don't just record. Intervene. Protect. Stand up. That child might not have lawyers like I did, might not have money, might not have anyone. Be their someone. Her eyes fierce. 1 year ago, people watched a grown man humiliate a 12-year-old. Some laughed, some recorded, some did nothing. Only 2 people stepped in, Margaret and Mr. Anderson. 2 people changed everything. You could be those 2 people for someone else. She held up information. If you need help, the Richard and Catherine Grant Foundation is here. Link below. If you want to help, donate, volunteer, share this. If you just want to remember something, remember this. Leaned closer. Everyone deserves dignity. Everyone deserves respect. Especially the ones who seem powerless. Because they're not. They just haven't found their power yet. Final pause. Christopher Hayes thought he destroyed me. Instead, he created me. He wanted to prove I was nothing. He proved I was everything. Small smile. Thank you for watching. Now go be someone's hero. Like Margaret and Mr. Anderson were mine. She ended the video. Caption, 1 year later, still standing, still fighting. Never underestimate. #everyone matters. Stand up. Posted it. Margaret appeared. Ready to go home? Yeah. What's for dinner? Spaghetti. Perfect. They rode the elevator down, walked to the car. Bailey looked back at the building. Tomorrow, more work, more meetings, more responsibility. Tonight, 13. Homework, TV, normal. She climbed in. You know what, Margaret? What, baby? I'm happy. First time since they died. Margaret's eyes wetted. Your parents would love that. I think so, too. Car pulled into traffic. Bailey leaned against the window, watched city lights blur. She thought about Christopher. Prison. Life destroyed. She felt nothing about him now. He was a lesson, a warning, a story. But not her story anymore. She was writing a new one, about a girl who fell and got back up, about a child who found her voice, about someone who refused to stay broken. The car drove through the night. Behind them, Manhattan glowed. Millions of lights, millions of people, millions of stories. Bailey's was just one. But maybe it would inspire others. Kids who felt small, adults who could help. World that needed changing. One person at a time. One stand at a time. One voice at a time. Car turned toward home. Bailey closed her eyes. Tomorrow would come. But tonight, rest. She'd earned it. Have you ever been underestimated? Have you ever underestimated someone else? What will you do about it? Like this video if you believe everyone deserves respect. Comment below. What would you have done in Bailey's position? Share this story with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more stories of justice served. Follow the Grant Foundation, link in description. And remember, you're stronger than anyone who tries to make you feel small, even when you're 12, especially then. Your voice matters. Use it.
30 years in prison, $4 billion returned. Bailey running a company at 12, justice served, but here's what haunts me. 500 people watched Christopher Hayes throw money at Bailey's face, watched him make a 12-year-old crawl on the floor for her mother's death certificate. Know how many people stepped in? 2. Margaret and Mr. Anderson, that's it. 500 people with phones recording, but only 2 actually helped. Christopher looked at Bailey's skin, her old shoes, and decided she was nothing. Didn't ask her questions, didn't check facts, just assumed. And here's the painful truth. Bailey had $4 billion to prove him wrong. Most kids who get treated like that, they have nothing. They just swallow it and move on. Be honest, how many times have you watched someone get disrespected and stayed quiet? Not judging, we've all done it. Recording is always easier than intervening. But Bailey was 12, on her knees, crying over her dead mother's photo, and 498 people watched. If that happened in front of you tomorrow, what would you do? Like this if you believe dignity isn't optional. Subscribe to Black Sage for stories about courage. Tell me, have you ever stood up when everyone else stayed silent? Bailey helps 2,000 kids yearly now, turned pain into power. The person you underestimate today might change the world tomorrow. Never judge by appearance. You don't know what someone's carrying inside.